Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of gold and silver. We'll go over the dollar, 10-year yield, the precious metals, and some of the companies. Again, this is just my financial opinion. Please don't use it as advice. And here we go. We're going to jump right in. The dollar. So we got this pullback here. So you see, from a learning perspective, guys, this happens all the time. And what I see a lot, you get a move, you get like these wicks on the bottom down here. You come on up, it pauses, you come on up, it contracts with the wick at the top, like I've got circled there. It come back, you get another wick at the bottom. This is just bouncing back and forth. However, it's going to bounce. So more than likely, we're probably going to see them in the short term, maybe a little move up to the upside here with this hammer pattern, which is a wick at the bottom. If you were to look at it from a 5-day perspective, what that wick signifies is like you can kind of throw a little pattern in here. And this is what it looks like when you zoom in on a 5-minute candlestick chart. This is 5 days. This is the dollar still. It's going in this downtrend. It tried to break it there. Nope, came down. Now we're looking and we're turtle heading out to the upside. We've got a higher low here if it can stick, and we may come on up. You can see the big buying pressure, small selling pressure here. Probably going to head higher. That's what that candlestick looks like on a daily. This is a daily candlestick here. So I think we're probably going to find a little bottom here and potentially head on up. We've got 2 large candlestick days, 1, 2, 3, 4, pulling back inside of it. More than likely, it's going to head higher. We're probably going to see a little bit stronger dollar over the next, over the short term. The 10-year yield, I drew this a while back. I just put a pennant formation. We are still coiling up. Maybe we got a little bit more to go before breaking out to the, I'm guessing, the upside. Usually what happens is you enter it, and the way that you enter this, if I can draw it, my lord, usually you enter it like this, and then we break to the upside. It's a continuation pattern, usually, statistically speaking. Just to throw the CRB index in there, or CRB, Thomas Reuters Commodity Index, we've gotten strong commodity prices, so that's good. Looking at gold, this is the futures contract price of gold. We were up, I got on here $6-ish. I'd still like to see more buying pressure in here. We've got the big selling off pressure here, and we're having a weaker response. So I'd like to see more buying pressure for me to say that this is a bottom and it's ready to go up. The reason I kind of drew this in yesterday is I think we'll probably cycle back and forth between these 2 lines in here like that, and then eventually move on up. Silver up a fractional day today. I mean, barely up, basically just sideways. And again, I think we'll be contained until we work off some of this downward momentum. Platinum up. I think it's still trading. I've got $8 right now. I view platinum to be, I'm hoping it's the strongest of the bunch. It looks like it's performing like it's the strongest. We had an $8 update today. We still have all these wicks at the top. There's some selling pressure up here that we're still running into. Carora Resources, this is an individual company. Again, we've got some nice good buying pressure today, up 3%. I still think that we're probably going to chop sideways for a little bit until the buyers step in and start pushing gold and silver higher. Then I think this will break eventually and move on up. EXK getting a little bit of selling pressure in here. This could potentially head lower. This is a bearish engulfing pattern. It opened high, the opening price and the closing price, and it's engulfing the candlestick before it. That's what engulfing means. It engulfs the opening and closing price of this little candle there. That is a bearish technical pattern. If I do a 5-day to show you what this pattern looks like, what it is you have an uptrend line that broke to the downside here. That's broke to the downside. And the pattern that we're looking at is this pattern over here. So it opened up and went down and broke the downtrend line, or the uptrend line. That's why it's bearish. It's a broken uptrend. So when we look at the daily candlesticks, it's a broken pattern to the downside. So I think that's going to continue until it changes. Same thing with SILJ, downward pressure. The little uptrend line's broken, and we'll probably head down in the very short term, guys. I'm not talking like long term. I'm talking very, very short term time frames. This guy looks okay. It's just going sideways for GDX. Metallic minerals still getting a little bit of sell off today. We've broken to the downside of this ascending wedge pattern. Usually they pull back a little bit, and we're just looking for a bottom. It's not a huge pattern, so it's not going to be too large of a pullback. Koya Silver Corporation moving on up, a retest and just moving sideways. Still looks good. Nothing too worrisome there. Still above the downtrend line. Discovery Silver, DS, VSF. A little bit of a selling pressure today. We could see this head a little bit lower. Looking at the 5 days, I'll just show you what that looks like on a 5-day. So we can draw like a line through here. We're still above the downtrend line. So we might come back and do a little bit of a retest on Discovery Silver. Looking at AG, let me get back out to the dailies. AG is First Majestic. The company is run by Keith Neumeyer. He's a good dude. I'll say that. Yeah, a little bit of a bearish engulfing on the very short term. Might see it just bounce back down like this or something like that. Looking at Newmont, that's a bullish engulfing. Usually these resolve upward. Looking at Mag Silver, just chopping sideways. I think that's going to continue. I don't see large buying pressure. It's favoring the sellers at the moment, I would say, because we got the selling pressure there. It's coming up, and it could kind of roll over like that. Yamana Gold, AUY. We're just chopping sideways. I don't really see a pattern or anything that's significant here for an either direction move. Impact Silver, just moving sideways or right at support underneath it. Aftermath Silver, AAGFF, we're just moving sideways at the moment. I don't really have too much to say there. Arcana Silver, we've got the big sell-off pressure here. I don't see buyers stepping in to push it higher. We could drop lower here depending on the trading action. PLG, even though with platinum and palladium getting stronger, this thing isn't reacting that great. I'd like to see this thing really, the buyers step in and push it higher. We've got all the good patterns, everything, it went for the break, and then the sellers came in and sold it off. I'm holding it with whatever money I've got, so I'm not really doing much with it. Sandstorm Gold, little bearish engulfing, which usually resolves itself a little bit lower. Franco-Nevada, FNV, we are coming up into this support resistance line, and we just got to keep rolling. It's just chopping sideways. EMX, I would say it's going to probably head lower. The reasoning is 3 down days here with good buying pressure, and we're contracting up like it's going to roll back over. Opening and closing prices is what I mean by contraction. Bearish engulfing, but sometimes these throw false signals. This is Tootin Resource at $1.48. This thing could head lower. Wheat and precious metals moving flat. I would say it could potentially head lower with this little wick at the top and the contraction in the candlesticks. Gold royalty down a little bit, down 2.67% GROY as this thing loads. Yeah, this still has a couple of larger selling pressure days, and then it's going to come up and probably roll over a little bit. That's my guess. Metalla royalty. I know there's some lines coming through here. Let me back out, see if I can find those lines real quick. There they are. We're right at the support. We're kind of dipping down a little bit. Looking at the candlesticks, I'm just kind of looking at the size of the candlesticks of the down days versus the up days. You could also kind of draw this in like a descending wedge type pattern, maybe. There's a support line here that's holding too. I wouldn't do anything right now. MMX, big buying pressure, smaller selling pressure. This one doesn't look too bad for Mavericks Metals. Royal Gold's looking good. I would say that looks good to potentially move up if it can get some momentum, which it has, if it can keep it. And Osisko Gold Royalty, it's struggling a little bit. What I don't like seeing are these large down candlesticks. It comes up and rolls over, comes up and rolls over. Got some larger down candlestick days. It's going to come up and roll over, possibly. So that's what I see in it. But, you know, guys, I haven't really done anything with my portfolio in gold and silver. If my new money, if I'm going to add money, I'm going to be looking at some of the other sectors. What sector? I would look at probably some of the energy companies like uranium at the moment. That's kind of what's getting me interested at the moment. It's already had a large pullback, and I think we're going to have energy problems in the future. So I think I'm a big royalty fan only because it takes the input costs out of it. So I have the majority of my money in royalties. I have very little money in the mining companies. So that's where the bulk of my money is. And then I've got a whole bunch of money in basically betting on natural gas going higher and oil going higher and uranium going higher. Anything in the energy area. I do think that precious metals are going to have their day in the sun here. It's going to be soon. You just got to be patient, guys. And I know that sounds like a broken record, but I think when interest rates start to rise, that the money has to go somewhere. I'm a big proponent of physical metals. I think we're going to have tighter energy supplies, higher energy costs in general, which are going to manifest themselves with higher commodity prices. Higher energy prices doesn't mean that the mining companies will necessarily make the money with higher commodity prices. Their margins may stay the same and their cost curves just go up. With the metal itself, if you own the metal, like physical gold, physical silver, physical platinum, you're protected against taxes. You're in terms of taxes for the company, taxes for yourself. You're protected against any sort of royalties they put on it. If the government puts royalties on whatever's sold, which is basically a tax, you're protected against energy input cost rises. You're protected against nationalization. You're protected against a whole bunch of different things. So sometimes that's really easy. It's very low risk, no counterparty risk. So I choose that over some of the other options. If I were to look at everything and the way that I position myself, it's big physical metal holdings. I put the bulk of my money in royalty companies, and then if the rest is mainly like energy companies. I'm kind of skipping out on a lot of the mining companies. I do own diversified mining companies that hold a wide array of different things. Something like a VALE or Rio or BHP. They pay high dividends, and they also have a bunch of stuff that I think could be quite valuable in the future. Whether it's minerals, it could be coal, it could be oil, it could be potash, it could be all sorts of stuff that they own. If you guys like this analysis, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.